effectively doubled the size of the IRS with this bill, granting the agency some 87,000 new personnel. Most of them will be agents. And they've spent $3.5 trillion over 2 years, $3.5 trillion that was not needed because COVID had been recovered from in the economy, that had been taken care of in a bipartisan fashion by the last two Congresses under the last two budgets under President Trump. Still, the Democrats spent $1.9 trillion on the American Recovery Act that was unnecessary. They spent $550 billion on infrastructure, $280 billion on the CHIPS Act, and with this new bill, they're on their way to spending another $700 billion. The name Inflation Reduction Act is Orwellian. It will only increase your inflation, while doubling the number of IRS agents looking into all of our finances, every business, every individual. Don't be fooled. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
AM 560, The Answer.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
Mark My Words with Mark Vargas. Brought to you by freedominitiativenow.net. He was born on the 4th of July. He served as a civilian in the Defense Department during the Iraq War, traveling to Baghdad 14 times. He regularly appears on Newsmax TV. His columns appear in the Washington Examiner and on Newsmax.com. He's been featured in front-page stories in the Chicago Tribune and the Daily Herald. The Wall Street Journal has called him the Mystery Man. But this is where the mystery ends. America is now engaged in a culture war, and he's ready to battle to defend you and your rights. Because like you, he loves America. He's Mark Vargas, and this is Mark My Words with Mark Vargas on AM 560, The Answer.
And good evening. Welcome to Mark My Words here on AM 560, The Answer. I am your host, Mark Vargas, joining you live here in studio. It's a sad day in America. It's a sad day in America because the partisan FBI and DOJ has taken their witch hunt on President Trump to a whole new level. And this week we learned that they raided Mar-a-Lago. And when we learned of that, we were in total shock and disbelief. But maybe we weren't, because after all, the Democrats have tried to go after Trump time after time after time, coming up empty-handed. But what we also learned is that item number one seized at Mar-a-Lago was a copy of the executive clemency of Mr. Roger Stone. And joining me live here on the phone is Mr. Roger Stone. Roger, welcome back to Mark My Words. How are you?
Mark, great to be back with you.
Roger, it is unbelievable that the Democrats continue to go after President Trump and you. Roger, the fact that a copy of your clemency was item number one seized by the FBI in their raid of Mar-a-Lago. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I kind of want to paraphrase Michael Corleone in The Godfather. Every time I try to get out, they drag me back in. I mean, this is, as I think it was Yogi Berra says, it's deja vu all over again. The woke left, the Democrats, they're obsessed with me. The fact that I escaped the deadly snare set for me by Robert Mueller and his buddy Adam Schiff, and that their totally fabricated charges against me were recognized by President Donald Trump, who in an election year had the courage and the strength to issue me a full and unconditional pardon because he knew it was impossible to lie to Congress about Russian collusion if there was no Russian collusion. This drives the rabid left in this country completely insane. So I can't honestly tell you why the clemency and the records regarding my clemency were among those things seized by the FBI, other than to say the commutation of my sentence and my pardon was all perfectly legal and done by the book. No, there was no corrupt bargain with Trump, as Hillary Clinton and Jerry Nadler and Adam Schiff and Eric Swallow as well and others have said. In fact, there's no contact between myself and the president or my lawyers and the president's lawyers or through any other third party from the moment that I was charged until the moment he called me on the phone to tell me he was commuting my sentence. No contact whatsoever. So I think they'd like to find some flaw in this incredible act of both mercy and justice, but there's no legal flaw to find, Mark.
You know, Roger and I was honored to be a part of your team to help work on that presidential commutation, and you're absolutely right. There was nothing there, a giant nothing burger. But, Roger, we're seeing a pattern, and I've got our good friend Governor Rod Blagojevich joining me later in the show to talk about the raid, the pre-dawn raid on his home, where they arrested him in the early morning with the SWAT team and hostage negotiators. Roger, take us back to this is part of the government's shock and awe. They did this with Governor Blagojevich in 2008. They did this to you as well and tipped off CNN. Now they've raided the legal offices, the law offices of Rudy Giuliani, which is unheard of. Now they've raided Mar-a-Lago. Roger, tell us, just as a reminder, because I think this is important, how the FBI came in and raided your home early in the morning.
Yeah, first of all, I think it's important to understand that my attorneys actually spoke to the special counsel's office the day prior to my arrest. So all they had to do, which is what the normal course of action is in a white-collar criminal case, is to inform my lawyers that I was going to be charged and I would be allowed to surrender the next day. Instead, at 6 o'clock in the morning, 29 fully SWAT-clad FBI agents in full SWAT gear, brandishing M4 fully automatic assault weapons, surrounded and then stormed my home. They arrived in 17 armored vehicles. There was a government helicopter above. I lived on a canal at that time, so there were 2 amphibious units. And yes, as Sean Hannity loves to say, there were fully armed frogmen jumping out on the dock at the time of my arrest. This can all be seen in the security camera footage that the FBI forgot to take with them when they left. All of this cost the taxpayers $1.1 million. When I simply were to turn myself in, the charges against me are absurd. You can't lie about something that didn't happen. And in fact, here's the irony. A year after my pardon, on November 3rd, 2020, at the stroke of midnight, Election Day, the busiest media day of the year, by court order, the FBI, the DOJ, was forced to release the last remaining redacted sections of Robert Mueller's long-hidden report in which he admitted that there was, quote, no factual basis, close quote, for charges against me regarding Russian collusion, WikiLeaks collaboration, or the phishing and publication of John Podesta's epically embarrassing emails. So what was it I lied about then? In other words, the whole purpose of my prosecution and the whole purpose of the raid with CNN cameras in tow 25 feet from my front door was intimidation. There was other media there, but I live in a cul-de-sac and the rope the road was roped off. The only media outlet allowed near the house was CNN. When I have an affidavit from a Fort Lauderdale police officer who'd been pulled in to back up the FBI, when he directed the CNN cameras to leave, saying no media was allowed, he was chewed out by an FBI agent who said no, CNN had special permission to be there. There you have it.
There you have it. We're joined live on the phone with Roger Stone. And Roger, I'm going to encourage everybody to go to the StoneDefenseFund.com. Please donate to Roger. Roger, my last question to you is, this is, I think, all part of a grand scheme to keep Trump from running in 2024. Do you agree?
I think there's no question about that. I mean, they tried, obviously, the Russian collusion hoax. That didn't work. Impeachment 1, that didn't work. Impeachment 2, Ukraine, that was the worst pasted-up con job of all time, where the whistleblower turns out to be on Adam Schiff's staff, a total fraud. The guy who should be impeached over his Ukrainian adventures is, of course, Joe Biden himself, who brags about bribing a prosecutor and withholding federal funds unless they fired a prosecutor who was looking into the dirty deeds of him and his son. So now this tells me they don't have a January 6th related action against Trump, although they've certainly tried to contrive one. There is a federal law that says that if a federal office holder, conceals, destroys, or mutilates federal documents, that they are prohibited from holding future office. But there's another legal argument that says that doesn't pertain specifically to the president. So what this is all about is we still haven't gotten to the bottom of it. Producing the subpoena is insufficient. We have to see the affidavit that was presented to a federal magistrate to persuade him to take this incredible step. If Trump had documents that belonged to the government, and the proper forum is a federal courtroom, they could have filed a legal action to retrieve them. Instead, they did this stunning raid, and why they thought the documents would be in Melania's closet, I have no idea, but just as they were in Mar-a-Lago for 9 hours, they were in my house for 13 hours, and yes, FBI agents were trying my wife's clothes on as well.
Roger, this is unbelievable, and we're going to continue to follow this very closely. I know you're enjoying some family time right now, but I appreciate you taking some time out to join us here on the phone.
Great to be with you, Mark. And as you know, I now do a show at frankspeech.com on Lindell TV2, every day at 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern. Tune in for the Stone Zone. I think you'll really dig it.
Tune into the Stone Zone. That was Roger Stone. Roger, God bless you. Say hello to your wonderful wife, Nydia, for me.
Many thanks.
Thank you. That was Roger Stone, who earlier this week, his copy of his clemency was item number 1 seized at Mar-a-Lago. Please go to stonedefensefund.com. You're listening to Mark My Words here on AM 560. We'll be right back.
See the world premiere of Uncle Tom 2, the sequel to the groundbreaking 2020 documentary from executive producer Larry Elder. And you can meet Alan West and Chad Jackson from the film at a special VIP reception. It's all happening on one night only in one theater on Thursday, August 25th at the Hollywood Boulevard Cinema in Woodbridge. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/movie. That's 560theanswer.com/movie. Presented by the Black Conservative Summit.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a physician. I've been in practice for 40 years. And when I started taking this, I don't like medicines, and I probably have taken more people off medicine than I put on it. And so I looked at it, and it's pretty much a natural element. And there's no question in my mind, knowing a lot of patients, that people my age, 60 and over, do not eat right. And they certainly don't get the appropriate nutrients through the vegetables, fruits, and things like that. So I think that it supplies the building blocks that your body normally would use to heal itself, and if you don't get them, you don't heal right. So it's amazing. I mean, I'm doing what I did 2 years ago.
Start your journey to better health. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get free shipping. And don't forget to get 35% off your first preferred order by using discount code CHICAGO.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Illinois Army National Guard, aired by the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
Daily stress is a big deal. Fact is, the terrible impact of stress is very deadly and shortens our lives. Stressed individuals attract diseases, just like blood in the water attracts sharks. Hi, this is Dr. David Kolbaba. I'm the show host of Health Quest Radio, the longest-running health news and science show in Chicago. And for over 33 years, we share practical concepts from a natural healthcare perspective to minimize the need for all those dangerous drugs and risky surgeries. Today, it's our dirt-cheap adrenal stress index test. No blood, just spit. Most people flunk on their first go-around, signaling adrenal gland distress. And then following our stress-busting strategies, most individuals pass their second test with flying colors. So if you can spare a little spit, call and purchase your first dirt-cheap adrenal stress index test, and we'll hold that same special low price for your follow-up test. Call 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. 800-794-1855. And be sure to tune in to Health Quest Radio this Saturday morning at 11.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Mark My Words with Mark Vargas on AM 560, The Answer. Here's your host, Mark Vargas.
And welcome back. I am your host, Mark Vargas, joining you live here in studio, and we're talking about why this is a sad day in America. The fact that the FBI has taken their witch hunt against the 45th President of the United States to a whole new level, raiding Mar-a-Lago, claiming that he brought back with him classified documents. Well, you know, anyone that understands the government and classification, the President of the United States has the sole authority to classify or unclassify documents, number one. Number two, all these boxes, all of these documents, it's no secret where it's going, and why, if there were sensitive materials, why they would allow those materials to leave and go with President Trump to Mar-a-Lago is beyond me. Thirdly, Melania's closet, the former First Lady's closet. This should tell you right there where this so-called investigation is going. Nowhere. Because why do they have to look in the First Lady's closet and rummage through all of her clothes and her drawers as if she's hiding nuclear codes in her drawers or in her closet? I mean, it's outrageous. And this is all part of the shock and awe that the government wants to create this optic that you're already guilty in the court of public opinion. And that's why it was so important to have Roger Stone on earlier to talk about this pre-dawn raid that only CNN had the exclusive. 30-plus agents, SWAT team, amphibious vehicles, helicopters. They even had underwater divers in case Roger Stone, who's at 68 years old, 67 years old, in case Roger Stone is going to do a James Bond exit from his home, an underwater exit down the canal and out into the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, outrageous, but it's all part of shock and awe. And later in the show, we're going to talk to former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, who his home was raided in the early hours in December of 2008 at 6 a.m. by a total of 26 FBI agents, including a hostage negotiator, because they were worried that the sitting governor of the fourth largest state in America was going to hold someone hostage in his home. They had also prepared for, and I'm not kidding you, a shootout between the FBI SWAT team and the governor's Illinois State Police security detail. Helicopters. They warned then Governor Blagojevich and his family that if he did not open up the door, that they were going to blow his door down. It's all part of shock and awe. They want you to look guilty in the court of public opinion. They want to bury you, regardless if it's true or not. They want to bury you right from the very beginning so that you are perceived as being guilty already, and there's no opportunity for you to prove your innocence. You're attacked. They did that with Rod Blagojevich. They did that with Roger Stone. They did that with Rudy Giuliani. Imagine this, in the United States of America, where the FBI raids the law offices of the President of the United States lawyers. Outrageous. Why? Because they want you to think that something's wrong or something illegal has already happened. And, you know, President Trump is getting a lot of heat, and now they raid Mar-a-Lago. But he's talking about 30 million documents, Obama, though that's true. But where was a raid on the Obama Foundation or the presidential library that they're building or the warehouse here in Chicago where some 30 million documents are being stored? Where's that raid? Where's the raid on Hunter Biden? Hunter's laptop discloses everything. Financial information, text messages, photos, conversations, complaining about having to share money from foreign governments with the big man, with the boss, complaining that he's given his dad all this money for doing absolutely no work, and yet he still has to pay for tiny home renovations like fixing a fence at his dad's house or landscaping at his dad's house. Where's the raid on Hunter Biden and his home? Where's the raid on the Biden's home in Delaware? You know, it's interesting because Mayor Giuliani went on Newsmax, I think, a couple of days ago, and he talked about that somehow now that the feds have lost the contents of Hunter Biden's laptop. Imagine that. They can't find it. It doesn't exist. Well, fortunately, there's a lot of people that have the contents, and there are numerous copies of what's on that hard drive. But this is all part of the strategy. Shock and awe. And I want you to make sure you tune in to hear Governor Blagojevich, because I know many of you out there thought, he's guilty because the feds, they raided his home and they arrested him in the early hours in December of 2008. He's guilty. But now, look what they're doing to President Trump and everyone associated with him. They had Russia hoax number 1, failed. Russia hoax number 2, failed. Impeachment number 1, failed. Impeachment number 2, failed. Now they're raiding the home of the 45th President of the United States and looking for classified documents in the drawers and clothes of the First Lady's closet. It is outrageous. And Joe Biden didn't know anything about this. His chief of staff, Ron Klain, didn't know anything about this. This was approved by the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, and the White House had no clue. Listen, this is no surprise because they needed something to change the narrative. I mean, Joe Biden's poll numbers are sliding so far. He's shaking hands with people that don't even exist. He's falling off of his bicycle. He's tripping up and down the stairs of Air Force One. He's walking off of Marine One. He can't even put on his own jacket. The Democrats are distancing themselves from Joe Biden. They needed something to change the narrative. And what was that solution? Raid Mar-a-Lago. This is not the United States of America. This is something that we see in the Soviet Union. This is something that Putin would do, or in Venezuela, or China, for that matter, or North Korea. Not in the United States of America, where they weaponize government agencies like the DOJ and the FBI to target and constantly attack their political enemies. And make no mistake, this is all about 2024. Roger is right. This is all about 2024. And they want to do everything in their power to keep Donald Trump from running for office. And this is a sad, sad day in America. And it's time for us to stand up and to fight back. We cannot be silent. I want to encourage all of you to give me a call, 312-642-5600. Let's talk about the raid on Mar-a-Lago, its impact on the midterm elections, its impact on the 2024 elections. But we've got a great show. We've got a lot to talk about. I mean, this is certainly dominating the headlines, but we're going to talk to Jacqueline Ruiz later this hour. She's hosting an event. We're relaunching the Inspiration Series at the Jets University's World Leaders Forum, and she's got a very special guest that's coming in just a few weeks. Jacqueline's going to talk to us about that. At the beginning of next hour, we're going to talk to Kenyana Jones, daughter or mother of Oceana, 21, who was murdered on July 31st, 2018. Her killer is a free man. We're going to talk to Kenyana about that. I met Kenyana at the press conference that we had just a week or two ago in front of Kim Foxx's office with families of violent crime victims, calling on Kim Foxx to restore law and order, calling on her to prosecute these violent criminals and get them off the streets, because there were 9 or so families that were gathered there at this press conference. They all had horrific stories about the deaths of their loved ones who died violent deaths. And what was the common denominator? All of their killers are free and out on the streets. We're also going to talk to State Representative Tom Morrison about the Parental Bill of Rights. He's going to give us an update on that. And later in the show, we're going to talk to former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. So we've got so much more to discuss. Give me a call. You're listening to Mark My Words. We'll be right back.
See the world premiere of Uncle Tom 2, the sequel to the groundbreaking 2020 documentary from executive producer Larry Elder. And you can meet Alan West and Chad Jackson from the film at a special VIP reception. It's all happening on one night only in one theater on Thursday, August 25th at the Hollywood Boulevard Cinema in Woodbridge. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/movie. That's 560theanswer.com/movie. Presented by the Black Conservative Summit.
I'm Kathleen Maloney. When President Biden returns from vacation this week, he'll find the Inflation Reduction Act on his desk.
He was in a celebratory mood about the bill passing, looking forward to signing it next week and having a celebration at the White House September 6th. He said he spent a lot of his time off working the phones.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich. A warning from the FBI and Department of Homeland Security about increased threats against government officials and law enforcement after the FBI raid on former President Trump's Florida estate.
I think everybody needs to be calling for calm, everybody across the board, and everybody needs to respect our law enforcement, whether they be local, state, or federal.
Republican Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick on CBS's Face the Nation. Most of the threats are online. Some are calling for a civil war. America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, it's Amy, and now's the time to join the millions of Americans who have changed the quality of their sleep with MyPillow. Mike Lindell didn't stop at pillows. Oh no. Right now, MyPillow is having their biggest sheet sale of the year. The MyPillow Percale sheets are the comfiest set I own, and you're going to love them. They're available in a variety of colors and sizes and are all on sale. For example, the queen size, regularly priced at $89.99, now only $39.99 with promo code Amy. Order now, because when they're gone, they're gone. These MyPillow Percale sheets are breathable, have a cool, crisp feel, and come with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. So don't miss out on this incredible offer. There's a limited supply, so order now. Go to MyPillow.com and click on the radio listener square and use promo code Amy. You'll also get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code Amy.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available.
I'm Sergeant Gary Carr, police firearms trainer and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training. We'll arm you with what really counts: knowledge and training. All concealed carry curriculums are not created equal. This may be the single most important decision you'll ever make for yourself and your loved ones. Choose between 3 and 16-hour classes that are available both weekdays and weekends. We are your one-stop for concealed carry classes, fingerprints, and legal defense plans.
To register for a class or purchase a self-defense legal service plan, go to icct.us. icct.us.
Next time you're in the office, look around and see the paper accumulating and the filing cabinets taking up space waiting to be filled. You want the paper gone, but dread the time-consuming scanning process? Well, with IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's never been easier to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud. The need for PCs, cables, and tedious application software is eliminated. Anyone can set this device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money, valuable time, and the hassle associated with IT. Remote employees can capture documents and send them seamlessly. This technology is adaptable to any environment and uses a hotspot without compromising security. If your goal is to organize documents efficiently and securely, IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT is for you. To see a demo or order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
Mark My Words with Mark Vargas. Brought to you by freedominitiativenow.net. We now return to Mark My Words with Mark Vargas on AM 560, The Answer. Here's Mark Vargas.
And welcome back. I am your host, Mark Vargas, joining you live here in studio. And we've been talking about the raid at Mar-a-Lago. But we're going to go to the phone lines. And we're going to talk to Jim in Elgin. Jim, welcome to Mark My Words. How are you, man?
I'm doing very good. Thank you. Great topic, and it's a sad day for America. A little sidebar. This weekend I was at a wedding down in Indiana, and I came back, down to Ohio, and my dad's got one of his, my dad's got a cousin. All my relatives are gone except for a few, and I went to see him. I hadn't seen him for a while. And he's got a farm. He has a soy farm and corn farm. He has about 100 acres. And he was telling me last year or so, the fertilizer, potash, was like maybe $400 a ton, and now it's $900 a ton. And there was some other fertilizer we're using. It was like, it's gone up like 200 or 300% in the last couple of years. And that's the Biden effect, And people don't understand this, and they have to understand with what's going on with the price of energy and everything else. It just adds to everything that we consume and eat and everything else because, if you want to eat, you got to have food, you got to grow it, So it's just something that was interesting to hear, and he was very distraught about it. He says, you know what, we're trying to struggle here so we can produce food. And so I tell my liberal friends, if you want to eat, you better support the policies that allow for food production to occur. And it seems like some of them don't. And also, as far as this whole thing with Trump, and our liberal friends are praising, Merrick Garland. I said, you know what? This is the same guy that wanted to attack parents who were upset with the school boards and how they weren't, teaching their children or they're indoctrinating them. So this guy is not a friend of anybody's because, if you can't have control of your kid's education, what does that tell you? They want the state to do it.
That's right.
No, thank you.
No, and Jim, you make an excellent point. This is the same DOJ that labeled parents fighting for the rights of their kids in schools before school boards as domestic terrorists.
Exactly. Yeah, call the FBI.
Jim, and thanks for those comments, and you're right. I mean, everything has skyrocketed. And I think, gas, groceries, rent, everyday way of life, everything has doubled in cost. And that's why the Democrats are stuck. They've got a president who is incompetent, and he's not only incompetent, but he's everything that he touches is being destroyed. But anyways, that's why you got to raid Mar-a-Lago.
He doesn't know what he's doing at all.
No, and that's why they got to change the narrative. And so let's raid Mar-a-Lago. Let's change.
You can't call it a raid anymore,
change
don't you know?
the cycle. Let's change the news cycle. Let's change it. But Jim, I appreciate your call, and we will talk to you soon, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Switching gears a little bit, because I could be on this topic forever. As many of you know, I go to Mar-a-Lago often when the president is there. He's there from November, end of November till May, and it's a wonderful place that I've visited many times. He's in Bedminster now in New Jersey, just about an hour south of Manhattan, and I was there in June as well, there in Bedminster. But what an amazing place. And the fact that the feds have now raided it. Did they plant listening devices? We don't know. And so it's very sad days because Mar-a-Lago has lost its innocence after being invaded by all these FBI agents who spent an entire day rummaging through things that that were unnecessary, namely the First Lady's closet and her drawers. But we could be on this topic all day long. But I also want to talk about the crime here in Chicago because, that the crime continues to skyrocket. We've had 12 shot, 4 killed this weekend, and we had a mass shooting last night, 5 shot, 1 fatally. And I was at the Bud Billiken parade yesterday, marched with Tom DeVore, but all the other candidates were there. Darren Bailey and his team were there. So many others in support of the Chicago GOP. But I do have to tell you, if anyone thinks we're turning Chicago red, they haven't been to the Bud Billiken parade. Why, George? Because the GOP was like dead last. And we sat there for about 2 hours before the parade started moving. And so if that is any indication, then we've got a long way to go, my friend.
So was Pritzker part of the parade?
Pritzker, I think he walked for a couple of blocks.
So he was ahead of you?
He was ahead of us. I knew
there might we have subways here. There might have been load restrictions on certain parts of the road.
Well, I knew he was there because there were candy wrappers along the trail, and it was a total dead giveaway.
Yeah,
I knew he was there.
See, the thing about the Bud Billiken Day Parade, right, is because it's supposed to be a celebration of getting back to school and trying to, have people like, hey, it's almost the end of the summer and here's the thing, right, and get people, and they generally tend to give away a lot of school supplies around the event and stuff like that. It has turned into just a political wet handing, basically.
Yeah.
Hopefully no one knows what that means, but yeah, it's pathetic now to watch it.
It is, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tease it, and we were joined by Beverly Miles, who ran against Pritzker in the Democratic Party primary, wonderful lady, and Justin from Chi-Town Crime Chasers, and he shared something with me that I thought was startling about police scanners, and I'm going to talk about that next after the break, and I'm going to take your calls. You're listening to Mark My Words. We'll be right back.
Property managers and business owners, finding a reliable junk cleanout company can be challenging. Well, let me help you cut through the clutter and recommend veteran-owned and operated J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. J-Dog Junk Removal is leading the charge in Chicagoland with superior commercial, industrial, and warehouse cleanout services. No matter what junk you have, office furniture, old equipment, outdated inventory, construction debris, or overflowing dumpsters, the J-Dog Junk Removal team of veterans will take care of it all. They pride themselves on work that's done with respect, integrity, and trust. Plus, they've taken the sustainability pledge to keep junk out of landfills by recycling and donating. Schedule your free estimate today. Visit jdog.com. That's jdog.com. And be sure to check out all their positive reviews. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. If you don't want it, they do. Visit jdog.com today. That's jdog.com.
Remember to eat your fruits and vegetables. We all remember these words from our childhood. But how does anyone have time to buy, store, prepare, and eat enough healthy fruits and vegetables in our busy lives? Balance of Nature keeps it simple. Our produce is powdered after an advanced vacuum cold process, which stabilizes the maximum nutrient content. The produce is then mixed into a scientifically researched blend designed with your body in mind. Once these blends are encapsulated, they are packaged and sent right to your door, so you can get all the benefits of a colorful variety of fruits and vegetables every day. Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-2468 751. And don't forget to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code Chicago.
Do you suffer from peripheral neuropathy in your hands or feet? Is continual numbness, tingling, and burning pain stopping you from being with your family? Are you unable to play golf or other activities you used to enjoy? Are you concerned about falling, or have you already? Have you tried typical treatments of drugs and therapy and not gotten any better or even worse? There's now a treatment that's already helped thousands improve their neuropathy so that they can get their lives back. Gold Coast Chiropractic now has a cutting-edge natural solution with a 95% success rate to improve your neuropathy right here in Chicago and can be done in the comfort of your own home. A solution that addresses the underlying cause of neuropathy without taking endless drugs with serious side effects. Call today for a complimentary nerve screening in the Gold Coast or Wheaton to see if this treatment can get you your life back. Call 773-524-4164. That's 773-524-4164.
Now, more of Mark My Words with Mark Vargas on AM 560. The Answer.
And welcome back. I am your host, Mark Vargas, joining you live here in studio, and we've been talking about the raid at Mar-a-Lago and how the feds were looking for top secret classified information and the First Lady's drawers and in her closet, because clearly she's hiding nuclear codes in her underwear drawer. It's quite obvious. But anyways, before we take your calls, there was a great segment, great interview on Newsmax, and New York City residents reacting to the raid at Mar-a-Lago, and this clip is just classic, and I want to play it for you right now.
President that had committed this many provable criminal acts.
But what are the provable criminal acts, I guess?
Provable criminal acts. Well, I'm done talking.
What are the provable criminal acts? I'm done talking. And yep, I think that really describes. This sums up the witch hunt pretty quickly in about a 14-second
So you admit
clip.
you don't know what you're talking about.
In a 14-second clip, it sums up this entire witch hunt by the FBI and DOJ and the Obama and Biden administrations to go after Donald J. Trump. But with that, I'll take your calls. We're going to go to David in Lansing. David, welcome to Mark My Words. How are you?
Hi, Mark. How are you? This raid is just another one of the big distractions, or the effect is another distraction in 2022, especially by the Biden crime family. And I haven't heard it much on the right because on right side radio, there's a lot of political junkies that listen to the radio. I think it cannot be underestimated that this raid might have been in violation of one of the Bill of Rights, which directly, talks about citizens can have to be secure in their papers. You have to name the thing that you're going in there for. You can't just go in there and rummage through everything. That cannot be underestimated, because I think the average person doesn't really think of that. They think that, the police are going in there, whatever they find, they find. That's not okay.
No. No, it's not okay. And you can't, under the umbrella of classified information, we can't talk about it because it's classified. It's just...
Okay, yeah, it's a very broad, it seems like this raid was a more broad than, they didn't name the thing they're going after.
No.
Or either that, or they included a bunch of stuff and said, okay, we're going to look for this. However you want to put it, it just doesn't seem right. It seems like a fishing expedition, but that's all explained in the Bill of Rights. There's a Bill of Rights that explains you have to be. I don't know it offhand. You have to be secure in your papers and belongings and property.
Yep. It's interesting, David, when you look at the items seized from Mar-a-Lago, various classified TS and TSCI documents, which is top secret security clearance, and there's compartmental. You can only see certain documents. I had security clearances when I was in the government, when I worked with the Secretary of Defense, so I understand the classified. Another was binder of photos. Another one, handwritten note, box labeled A1, box labeled A12. I mean, you go through these, and it's all you see. Miscellaneous, A17. Nothing specific. But, David, I appreciate your your call, and I think you're spot on. We're going to go
Keep
to...
up the good work.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to Eduardo in Midway. Eduardo, welcome back to Mark My Words, man. How are you?
Yeah, Mark. Well, I was doing the Edison Fest and the Italy Fest this weekend, but nobody's really into the politics right now, but we'll see after Labor Day. But I saw a story here, and somebody mentioned it on one of the other stations yesterday, about 15,000, 17,000 short on CPS enrollment. Speaking of crime, well, you're going to see some more crime now because those people ain't going to school and getting educated.
You know, I didn't see that, Eduardo, and I'm going to take a look at that, and we'll make sure we can highlight that on the show. Yeah, it's certainly not going to help reduce crime, and it's certainly not going to help reduce the number of crime victims, if that's the case. And clearly these Democratic leaders are failing families in the south and west sides of Chicago. It's going to be hard for these children to climb back out of the hole that they were forced into by the teachers union and Pritzker and Lightfoot. They're falling so far behind without probably any opportunity to catch back up. Eduardo, thanks for flagging that for me, man. And I thought I followed everything, but
you're welcome.
I didn't catch that.
We'll see what else I get from my LA trip this Thursday.
Man, I've been waiting for this. I was about to ask you, but I figured it was another week. So keep us updated.
I want to find out too about the post-COVID and how people's psychology is after that, and young people. Because I'm going to go to a networking event on Thursday night, so it'll be interesting to find out. Talking to different people, what they're feeling, what their concern is. Obviously, crime is one of them because crime is up over there.
Crime is a big one. And I see, Eduardo, I appreciate your call, my friend. Look forward to talking to you
Have a
next
good week, everyone.
Thank you. Same to you. Man on the street, Mark Weiermuller. Welcome to Mark My Words.
Hey, Mark Weiermuller, man on the street here. Eduardo has a huge point here. CPS enrollment has declined about 10,000 students over the last 10 years, yet their budget continues to go up. There was no talk about that today yesterday during Bud Billiken, but there's less and less students, and people are leaving Chicago. They're going to private schools, homeschooling, and this is a big issue. I'll be talking more about it, but let me tell you, last week I was with President Trump at CPAC in Dallas, and he's more popular than ever, and I think he's going to run. I didn't think he was going to run, and I think he's going to run now. So it's who knows?
He's definitely. I've gotten the call. He's definitely running. I can assure you that.
Oh yeah. So, well, that's exciting. Let me tell you a sad note is a year ago, last week, Ella French was shot and killed. She's a Chicago police officer, and they just retired her badge at the CPD headquarters. I think the 19th is a one-year anniversary of her funeral. This is something we should be talking about, supporting our police and stopping crime, figuring out some kind of solutions to this, and it's very upsetting. So I appreciate your effort to talk about the crime in Chicago because it's just out of control. One more thing. Murder is actually down right now, so Lightfoot is probably going to brag about this. But still, I think that if you look at HeyJackass.com or CWB Chicago, two great news sites, and you'll see the actual reporting that the other Chicago Tribune sometimes they're just not reporting on it. So, and Lightfoot's not reporting on it. But she might take this as a victory lap that there's a few less murders. But we shouldn't have any murders in Chicago. One more thing: 845 homicides last year. And 80 of them were Chicago public school students. We can't talk about that enough. So thanks for taking my call, Mark, and I'm enjoying the show.
Thanks. Man on the street, Mark Weiermuller. You're listening to Mark My Words on AM 560. The Answer. We'll be right back. Make sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Getter, Truth Social. We've got so much more to discuss. We'll be right back.
You can't live forever, but your legacy can. At Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, they've helped families set their legacies in stone for over 180 years. With interest-free financing and low monthly payments, now is the time to set your final wishes in place. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 today to schedule a free consultation.
There's nothing like hearing the songs you love on local radio with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that could stop the music. If passed, this bill would tax your local radio station simply to play the music you love. Text LOCAL to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Security, safety. Lately, those words have new meaning. Hi, this is Sean Morrison. My company is Morrison Security. If you use a security company, I want you to think about this. Who's behind that company? Is it a company that is just doing an okay job? How well are they trained? Do you really trust them? The word is security. What's behind Morrison Security? We believe in the Second Amendment and conservative values, and here's why. It's about protection and freedom. Whether you need armed protection or not, you have the right to protect your business, to protect your property, to protect your school, to protect your family. Security. It has never been more important to know who's behind your security company. Is it people just filling a job? Or is it a group of people that in their core believes in providing real protection for your schools, business, and employees? Protection for you and your family. At Morrison Security, my name is on the company. You know what's behind Morrison Security. Take a moment. Think about your security services. Good may not be good enough. I welcome the comparison. Morrison Security. We're securing America coast to coast, based right here in Chicagoland. Check us out at morrisonsecurity.com. That's morrisonsecurity.com.
You're listening to Mark My Words with Mark Vargas on AM 560. Once again, here's your host, Mark Vargas.
And welcome back to Mark My Words. I am your host, Mark Vargas, joining you live here in studio. And we have a very special guest joining us on the line. She is on the board of the World Leaders Forum, and she is the new host of the Inspiration Series, Jacqueline Ruiz. Jacqueline, welcome to Mark My Words. How are you?
Thank you, Mark. Pleasure to be here.
We've got an exciting event coming up on August 22nd. Please give us a rundown of what's happening.
Well, you know what? Judson University does it again with the World Leaders Forum, bringing in Edward James Olmos for this World Leaders Forum Inspirational Series, whom I will have the pleasure of interviewing on stage, bringing just inspiration to our community and following the amazing lineup of incredible speakers that we've had throughout, the World Leaders Forum history over 10 years.
And that is going to be Monday, August 22nd at 7 p.m. at Judson University. And where can people get tickets, Jacqueline?
Judson University, JudsonUNE.com/inspiration.
Beautiful. And, this is fantastic. Jacqueline we are relaunching the World Leaders Forum Inspiration Series, and Jacqueline is going to be the host of this 2.0 series, and it's going to be exciting to have Edward James Olmos here on Judson's campus. I know we had to reschedule, but I encourage everyone to attend because this is going to be an incredible conversation, a VIP reception from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Doors open at 6:30, and the event begins at 7. Jacqueline, what's one question that you're dying to ask Mr. Olmos here on stage?
Well, as you know, Mr. Olmos has been involved in many productions, movies. He's also an activist. He's very involved in education. So I really want to know what he sees as the landscape of our community and what he sees as leaders in our community that we can do to elevate education, elevate literature, literacy, and continue to pave the way for the next generations to come. I'm really curious about his vision for the future.
Well, that's certainly going to be a great question. And he was Miami Vice. Was that right? He was in Miami Vice?
Absolutely.
And
yeah, he's been...
that's where I remember him the most. But he's a great actor. He does a little bit of everything. And Jacqueline, kudos to you for securing such a well-known and respected person like Edward James Olmos. Again, I want to encourage everybody to get your tickets now. I'm going to be posting this all over my social media. Again, Monday, August 22nd at 7 p.m. at Judson University for Edward James Olmos, hosted by Jacqueline Ruiz. It's going to be an incredible evening. Jacqueline, thank you for calling in and promoting this event. I will post this all over my social media and encourage everyone to attend. Can't wait to see you there. Jacqueline, thanks again.
Thank you.
That was Jacqueline Ruiz. Again, you don't want to miss this. This Inspiration series is incredible. I'm so glad that it's being relaunched, and she's the perfect person to help us launch. You're listening to Mark My Words. We'll be right back.
Want to try something different for your next personal or team get-together? Plan your next event at Bottle & Bottega by Painting with a Twist, Park Ridge. Sip your favorite beverage while you follow along with their artist entertainer to create your own one-of-a-kind artwork. No experience needed. It's the perfect venue to create and connect. At Bottle & Bottega, Park Ridge, they're all about making memories with the people that matter most in your life. Whether it's your team, a girls' or mom's night out, you'll have a blast with wine, paint, and hanging with your besties. Can't make it to the studio? Stop by and pick up a Twisted Home paint kit. It's everything you need for a great time painting. Paint, drink, and be merry at Bottle & Bottega, Park Ridge by Painting with a Twist. Located at 424 Toohey Avenue, Park Ridge. For more information and to book your next personal event or team get-together, Google search Painting with a Twist, Park Ridge, or call 847-232-7170. That's 847-232-7170.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com. On the AM 560 mobile app. Tune in, iHeart, and on Odyssey.
Author is recovering from a vicious attack. I'm Ann Carrick, Fox News. The family of Salman Rushdie releasing a statement with an update.
Zafar Rushdie said of his father in the statement he is still in critical condition, adding the family is relieved he was taken off a ventilator and able to speak. Salman Rushdie wrote the controversial novel The Satanic Verses, published in 1988. Muslims criticized the book as blasphemous. Rushdie was attacked last week before a speaking engagement in New York State. Zafar Rushdie, in the statement, thanked the people at the event who came to his father's aid and the doctors who have cared for him.
Fox's Gernal Scott. The FBI and Department of Homeland Security issuing a bulletin warning of violent threats against federal law enforcement after the raid on Trump's home in Florida.
After the Russian collusion, Steele dossier, everything that took place during the Trump presidency and now out of office, to have this raid take place. Look, I'm a DOJ alumni. I worked at Public Integrity here at Maine Justice. And what I worry about, Margaret, is the lack of trust and faith in our institutions.
Republican Texas Congressman Michael McCall on CBS's Face the Nation. The family of a murdered Army soldier is suing the U.S. government. Fox's Matt Napolitano.
The family of Vanessa Guillen filed a $35 million civil lawsuit seeking damages from the U.S. government on the basis of sexual harassment, abuse, and wrongful death. Vanessa Guillen, a 20-year-old Army specialist, was declared missing from Fort Hood in April of 2020, found months later, her body dismembered, burned, and buried in several shallow graves. The main suspect in her death, Aaron Robinson, accused of bludgeoning Guillen to death in an armory room, took his own life while authorities closed in on making an arrest. Several investigations reveal Guillen suffered sexual harassment and assault during her service.
America's listening to Fox News.
It's an evening you don't want to miss. The Illinois Family Institute's Faith, Family, and Freedom Banquet with actors and filmmakers Sam and Kevin Sorbo. Join them Friday night, October 28th at the Carlisle in Lombard. Register at IllinoisFamily.org.
People are standing up and saying enough is enough.
I'll just say that people are looking for truth.
The Sorbos are outspoken Christian conservatives in liberal Hollywood. They're known for the Hercules TV series and the documentary film Leaders for Life.
You need bravery.
But I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to be bold, right?
Sure, we all are.
But we all need to learn how to be bold.
Kevin and Sam Sorbo and the IFI Faith, Family, and Freedom Banquet, Friday night, October 28th. Register at IllinoisFamily.org or call 708-781-9328. IllinoisFamily.org.
We tried Dynovite nutritional supplement, and after a couple of weeks, we noticed a big difference. Our little Gizmo's coat was shinier, and there was a lot less scratching and shedding.
My dog smelled and scratched constantly. We bathed and sprayed her, took her to the vet, but no results. Now, a little Dynovite in her food helps Bella keep her beautiful coat with no scratching or smell.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynovite.
This is Hugh Hewitt for Townhall.com.
President Biden and the congressional Democrats are well underway to passing what they've labeled the Inflation Reduction Act. It should be named the IRS Expansion Act because they have effectively doubled the size of the IRS with this bill, granting the agency some 87,000 new personnel. Most of them will be agents. And they've spent $3.5 trillion over 2 years, $3.5 trillion that was not needed because COVID had been recovered from in the economy. That had been taken care of in a bipartisan fashion by the last two Congresses under the last two budgets under President Trump. Still, the Democrats spent $1.9 trillion on the American Recovery Act that was unnecessary. They spent $550 billion on infrastructure, $280 billion on the CHIPS Act, and with this new bill, they're on their way to spending another $700 billion. The name Inflation Reduction Act is Orwellian. It will only increase your inflation, while doubling the number of IRS agents looking into all of our finances, every business, every individual. Don't be fooled. I'm Hugh Hewitt.
Fellas, still need to get your annual health exam? I personally recommend my friends at Low T Center to get your complete health assessment, where they check all of your levels. It's typically completely covered by most health insurance, and if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and an office visit with their medical provider to give you a complete health assessment. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy, even verifying your insurance. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Mark My Words with Mark Vargas. Brought to you by freedominitiativenow.net. He was born on the 4th of July. He served as a civilian in the Defense Department during the Iraq War, traveling to Baghdad 14 times. He regularly appears on Newsmax TV. His columns appear in the Washington Examiner and on Newsmax.com. He's been featured in front-page stories in the Chicago Tribune and the Daily Herald. The Wall Street Journal has called him the Mystery Man. But this is where the mystery ends. America is now engaged in a culture war, and he's ready to battle to defend you and your rights. Because like you, he loves America. He's Mark Vargas, and this is Mark My Words with Mark Vargas on AM 560, The Answer.
And welcome back to the second hour of Mark My Words. I am your host, Mark Vargas, joining you live here in studio, and we've spent an entire hour talking about politics and the raid on Mar-a-Lago, but I'd really like to transition and shift gears to a new segment that I want to create, and I want it to take for as long as possible because these stories are unbelievable. And as you know, Governor Blagojevich and I and Andrew Holmes and Lizette Guillen had a press conference a couple of weeks ago in front of State's Attorney Kim Foxx's office, and we were joined by families of violent crime victims, and there were 8 or 9 of these families, and you couldn't help but hear their stories and feel the raw emotion and anger and frustration, and you couldn't help but hear these stories and get emotional yourself. And so I said hello to each of these families, and I told them that I want to put each and every one of them on my show to talk about their loved one, because they're not a statistic. They're a person. They're a brother. They're a son. They're a daughter. They're a sister. They're a mom and a dad. They're a cousin, an aunt, and uncle. These are real people. And I told Lizette that I want to get every single family member that they know of on this show, and we're going to do it in the second hour every Sunday night because we're going to highlight these stories. And so my first guest is Kenyana Jones, mother of Oceana, her daughter was murdered on July 31st, 2018, and the killers were never charged. Kenyana, thank you for joining me here on Mark My Words. How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. Kenyana, can you please tell us, you there? Can you please tell us a little bit about your daughter Oceana? What was she like, and what did she enjoy doing? Just tell us a little about her.
Okay, my daughter Oceana Jones, she had just graduated high school, 2017. She had just turned 21 July 6th of 2018. She loved playing games, jumping rope. She loved the school, and she loved her mom with me, her cousins, her brothers, her aunties, and uncles. The day, July 31st of 2018, her boyfriend walked to the gas station, 4 guys approached them, started chasing them down 79th. She ran up 79th with Justine. They stood in the middle of the street and shot, and she got shot in the back, and they killed her.
21 years old. These killers, where are they now, Kenyana?
They still out on the street.
They're still out on the street.
My detectives, I had 2 detectives. One of my detectives, her name was Detective Dudley. She retired in April of 2021. Then I had got another detective. His name is Detective Mark. They tried to put felony charges on them, but Kim Fox rejected the murder charges 4 times. So they still out on the street, roaming the street.
Kim Fox rejected the murder charges 4 times. Do you have any idea why? Has her office even given you any explanation for that? Which you deserve that explanation.
No, they didn't give. I didn't know. They did not give me any explanation. I didn't even know that my daughter. They had closed my daughter's case last year in May. I didn't know that until I talked to this lady named Lisa with Cold Case File.
Wow.
And she had looked it up and told me that they had closed my daughter's case.
Closed the case, and the killers are out on the streets, and Kim Fox has assisted in that. Can you please share with us, did Governor Pritzker ever call you?
No.
Did Mayor Lightfoot ever call you?
No.
What has it been like as a grieving family just looking for answers to bring these killers to justice? What has been your experience in working with Kim Fox's office?
Well, I've been trying to get a hold of her to talk to her. She won't return my calls. It's like they out here on the street, and then it's so many family members out here losing their kids. They out here killing babies, just innocent people.
Innocent people with no justice.
No justice. And I've been fighting for 4 years. July the 31st, this year made 4 years my daughter been gone, and that was my only child.
And that's the hard part, Kenneth. That this was your only child, and you're simply looking for answers. You're looking for justice to be served. You're looking for a mayor and a governor and a state's attorney that are on the side of innocent victims. And these killers are set free, and they're roaming the streets. There's no accountability. What can we do, Kenyana, to help? And I promised you, and I will have you on this show as much. We will do everything we can to elevate your story, honor your daughter Oceana. That's the best way we can honor her, Kenyana, is by bringing her killers to justice. What can we do?
I just like to keep getting her story out there to let them know that I'm not giving up. I'm still fighting. Y'all out here, y'all know what happened. Y'all know the reason why y'all chased my daughter down. And then y'all just out here roaming the street. And then I had called my detective a couple months ago because one of the dudes that had chased my daughter, he had got locked up. And he was in Cook County bragging about the murder. So I called my detective, tried to tell my detective. He ain't did nothing about it.
Wow. Again, for those of you joining live on the line right now, we're talking to Kenyana Jones, a wonderful mother whose daughter Oceana was killed on July 31st, 2018. The killers have never been charged. They are roaming free out on the streets. And Kim Fox and her office is responsible for these killers to be back out on the street. You know, Kenyana, if you had a chance to meet with Kim Fox, what would you tell her?
I would ask her, why would she reject the murder charges? You're saying it's not enough evidence. You clearly see on the tape, the videotape, how they chased my daughter down and killed her. But you're saying it's not enough evidence. What evidence do you want? You seen them at the gas station. You see them following them at the gas station. You see them following them at the gas station. You see them chasing her up the street. You see them hit Justine and stand right there and shoot down the alley. What more evidence do you need? The evidence is right there. But you're saying it's not enough evidence. You got it on tape.
And you also have one of the guys that was there bragging about it in jail.
Yes. in jail. And I called my detective, told my detective, he ain't did nothing about it.
And now they've closed the case.
Yes.
Well, Kenyana, we're going to work. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He said if he get someone come in and let them know that he was in there bragging about it, they will reopen my daughter's case. But I feel that they shouldn't even close the case.
No, they never should have closed the case. They shouldn't close the case until justice is served. And, this is a failure on the state's attorney's, within the state's attorney's office. It's a failure of Lightfoot and Pritzker for not taking this issue seriously. Again, we grieve with the families in Highland Park, but Highland Park happens every weekend in south and west sides of Chicago. Kenyana, my last question for you is there's a lot of families that that have lost loved ones. Have their killers been held accountable and brought to justice?
Nope.
This is I
had talked to a couple of family members when y'all had that press conference.
Yeah.
And she rejected their murder charges too. She's saying it's not enough evidence.
That seems to be a sad common denominator amongst the families that were particularly there at this press conference, is that none of those killers have been charged, and they're all walking the streets free men, and we've got to do something about that. Kenyana, I know this is not an easy topic to discuss. Oceana, a beautiful, wonderful 21-year-old who was fatally shot in July of 2018. We will honor her, and we will honor you by keeping her story front and center, and we will do everything that we can to make sure your daughter's killers are brought to justice. Kenyana, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
Again, that was Kenyana Jones. I cannot imagine the grief that these families go through every single day, knowing that their state's attorney, their governor, and their mayor aren't paying any attention to them and allowing these killers to roam free on the streets. It is outrageous, it is immoral, and it is wrong. And I've made a promise to those families that we will not rest until justice is served. You're listening to Mark My Words here on AM 560 The Answer. We'll be right back.
See the world premiere of Uncle Tom 2, the sequel to the groundbreaking 2020 documentary from executive producer Larry Elder. And you can meet Alan West and Chad Jackson from the film at a special VIP reception. It's all happening on one night only in one theater on Thursday, August 25th at the Hollywood Boulevard Cinema in Woodbridge. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/movie. That's 560theanswer.com/movie. Presented by the Black Conservative Summit.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
Skin, hair, nails, just good health all over.
So I got to the point where I was, for like a week and a half, I didn't really take vegetables, and I could totally feel a difference just from not taking the vegetables.
I just feel mellower, and that helps me too, because then I can give myself a break and say, good, you did it. I know that this is a good path for me to go on. I can tell there's things that are happening, and I do feel better.
Yes, it's better. I was really down, and it has been uplifting. I really do approve of it, and I'm 80 years old, and so this is really good for me.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature right now. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get free shipping. And don't forget to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Daily stress is a big deal. Fact is, the terrible impact of stress is very deadly and shortens our lives. Stressed individuals attract diseases, just like blood in the water attracts sharks. Hi, this is Dr. David Kolbaba. I'm the show host of Health Quest Radio, the longest-running health news and science show in Chicago. And for over 33 years, we share practical concepts from a natural healthcare perspective to minimize the need for all those dangerous drugs and risky surgeries. Today, it's our dirt-cheap adrenal stress index test. No blood, just spit. You know, most people flunk on their first go-around, signaling adrenal gland distress. And then following our stress-busting strategies, most individuals pass their second test with flying colors. So if you can spare a little spit, call and purchase your first dirt-cheap adrenal stress index test, and we'll hold that same special low price for your follow-up test. Call 800-794-1855. You can't get any cheaper than dirt cheap. 800-794-1855. And be sure to tune in to Health Quest Radio this Saturday morning at 11.
Hi, it's Amy, and now's the time to join the millions of Americans who have changed the quality of their sleep with MyPillow. Mike Lindell didn't stop at pillows. Oh no. Right now, MyPillow is having their biggest sheet sale of the year. The MyPillow Percale sheets are the comfiest set I own, and you're going to love them. They're available in a variety of colors and sizes and are all on sale. For example, the queen size, regularly priced at $89.99, now only $39.99 with promo code Amy. Order now because when they're gone, they're gone. These MyPillow Percale sheets are breathable, have a cool, crisp feel, and come with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. So don't miss out on this incredible offer. There's a limited supply, so order now. Go to MyPillow.com and click on the radio listener square and use promo code Amy. You'll also get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code Amy.
This is Mark My Words with Mark Vargas on AM 560. The Answer. Here's your host, Mark Vargas.
And welcome back to Mark My Words. I am your host, Mark Vargas, joining you live here in studio. And we've got another special guest joining us live on the line who's going to be talking about a special project that he is collaborating on with Family Pack here in Illinois. He is Illinois State Representative for District 54, Tom Morrison. Tom, welcome to Mark My Words. How are you?
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me on.
No, absolutely. Thank you for joining us. And you've got some important sort of updates or teasers for our listeners. Again, you're collaborating with Family Pack, and you're working on a special project that is not yet unveiled. But please share with us what this special project is and some of the details that you can share with us publicly, at least at this point.
Yeah, well, Mark, your listeners know that we have such an important election coming up. And what I have found, so I've been in the Illinois House of Representatives for 12 years. I'm not running for re-election, but I really want to help other, good representatives get elected, ones who really care about our children, who care about the state of the state, our business climate. We want a state that is functional, not dysfunctional, and a state that protects and preserves our fundamental rights and principles, and not one that is constantly attacking them. And so one thing that I have found, though, is that there's a lot of voters who just don't understand how far to the left Illinois has gone. There's been such a big focus on what's happening at the national level, and while there's a lot of disturbing things that are happening at the national level, in Illinois, we have very little impact on that. But for our local and state elected officials, for our local and state policies, we do have a big opportunity to make a difference in this election. And so we're encouraging voters, when candidates or when volunteers come and knock on their door, or when they start getting inundated with mail pieces or they see commercials on TV, they really need to be thinking about where that candidate stands on parents' rights. And so just to simplify things, we are narrowing down a list of items that we're going to call a Parents' Bill of Rights. And we're going to encourage candidates to sign on, that say that, yes, that they support a Parents' Bill of Rights.
What an incredible, I think this is a fantastic idea. And you're right. I mean, what we've learned, so much has been revealed, I think, over the last 2 years during this pandemic. And, I think some of the unsung heroes out of the pandemic have been our first responders, nurses, firefighters, police officers, and parents. And, when we stand up, they stand down. Tom, what are some of the, I love this, and I can't wait for this to be launched. In terms of the Parent Bill of Rights, what particular issues are you going to be focused on?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. You mentioned the last couple of years, but these sort of attacks on the family, attacks on children, attacks on our education system, they have been going on for decades. And people who are paying attention have highlighted some of these things over the years, and the issues get a lot of attention, and then they kind of fade by the wayside. People get busy, and other concerns, come into our lives. But some of the issues that we think are most pressing, number one, how many people know that Illinois had, in past tense, had a parental notice law for children who were seeking an abortion? Well, last fall, the Illinois Democrats pushed through a repeal of that law, and Governor Pritzker signed it into law. So it went into effect this year. So think about it. A child who wants to get their ears pierced cannot get one without parents' consent, right? The parents actually have to sign off on that. In the case of abortion, parents at least had to be notified. Now parents won't even be notified if their child is seeking an abortion. And so you can see the abortion industry, abortion clinics are expanding in the state of Illinois because they see children as a growing customer base for them, and the parents won't even know about it. So that's one provision. We've also seen extremely graphic and radical sex education come into the schools. There was a bill that passed last year. It was Senate Bill 818. Some of the most graphic and radical sex education curriculum in the country, and now it's in effect in Illinois schools. Now, thankfully, there have been about half of the Illinois school districts that have opted out of this curriculum, but there's a lot of parents that don't even know that when school starts, this is going to be part of their school's curriculum. It's K through 12, by the way, K through 12. Other provisions, we want to expand parental involvement in curriculum issues, regardless of what that curriculum might be. We think parents should have a right to know what their children are being taught. And again, when the schools were shut down because of COVID, a lot of parents all of a sudden got a window into what their children were actually being taught. We need to make sure that now that the kids are back in school, that it isn't under wraps anymore. The parents have a right to know what is being taught, who are the special speakers being brought in, what are the special programs that they may or may not be aware of. We think parents should know ahead of time. So that's generally the idea.
It's a wonderful idea. I've talked about this, Tom, before, and for those just tuning in, we're talking to Illinois State Representative Tom Morrison, who's collaborating with the Family PAC on something that I think is so needed, and it's a parent bill of rights, and they're going to challenge every candidate running for office to sign this, and it's talking about these issues, particularly, Tom, the sex ed curriculum. What's interesting is that this should be an easy litmus test. I cannot read what's in this curriculum on live air. And if I cannot read what's in this curriculum on live air, why in the hell are we teaching it to kids K through 12? I mean, that should just be a very simple litmus test, right?
Right. And so I sit on a couple of the K through 12 committees in the Illinois House. And that was my point exactly when we were talking about some of the provisions within the curriculum. If I had talked about it in the committee discussing the bill, someone could have potentially accused me of sexual harassment. As Illinois lawmakers, we go through sexual harassment training, and I was just appalled that some of the items that we expect our children to learn about, the topics, are things that would, or the pictures, within the quote-unquote approved textbooks, the approved curriculum. If I were to display those on the screen on our committee Zoom call, it would, I think, be in violation of those sex harassment standards. So I want to clarify something really quick. When I say national standards, someone might think, oh, well, gee, what's wrong with adopting national standards? It's a misnomer. So there were national, what are called sex-positive groups that created this curriculum and are now calling it national standards. It's not like it was developed by a federal government agency, the Department of Education, or it's not governmental. It is these sex-positive groups that created this curriculum and are now pushing it down on the states. So Illinois is one of, I think, only 3 states in the entire country to adopt these standards. So it's not like, and this is what's really egregious too. With the law in Illinois now ties our sex ed standards, our state education sex ed standards, to whatever these national groups happen to change in the future. So the 2022 standards might become even more radical in 2023, and Illinois will be tied in with those new guidelines.
Tom, this has been an incredibly...
There is something that parents can do, and there is something that school boards and school districts and administrators can do. They can opt out. And so parents, I urge you, learn about this and really put pressure on your local school districts, your elected board members, the administrators, the teachers, to opt out of this. We don't have to go down this road.
Exactly. And Tom, that was the point I was going to make is this is incredible information because we've got school board races coming up here very shortly. Tom,
Next spring. Yes, next spring.
Real quick, I know we're running out of time, but when will you be unveiling this Parent Bill of Rights? Do you have any idea?
Well, we got a draft right now. We're working with some allied groups about finalizing our language, but you're going to start to see things in a few weeks, I would say.
Wonderful. Well, Tom, I want to invite you back here in studio where we can have a much longer, more substantive conversation on this. I think this is fantastic. Thanks for all your work. Thank you to Family Pack. Illinois State Representative Tom Morrison, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks a lot, Mark.
Yep, well, we will talk to you soon. Again, tune in. Parent Bill of Rights. You're listening to Mark My Words here on AM 560 The Answer. Former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich joins me next. We'll be right back.
See the world premiere of Uncle Tom 2, the sequel to the groundbreaking 2020 documentary from executive producer Larry Elder. And you can meet Alan West and Chad Jackson from the film at a special VIP reception. It's all happening on one night only in one theater on Thursday, August 25th at the Hollywood Boulevard Cinema in Woodbridge. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/movie. That's 560theanswer.com/movie. Presented by the Black Conservative Summit.
I'm Kathleen Maloney. Gas prices dropped 45 cents a gallon over the past few weeks, but the downward trend may not continue.
Oil prices made a partial recovery after an important decline, and wholesale gasoline, especially the unbranded channel of trade, turned upward in the past few days.
Industry analyst Trilby Lundberg. After some 20 years in the Senate, Republican Lisa Murkowski faces a tough primary election in Alaska this week.
Her difficulties are in large part because President Trump has personally campaigned against her, calling her lousy and the worst senator in the United States.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt. Murkowski lost the former president's endorsement when she voted to convict him for his involvement in the Capitol riot. America is listening to Fox News.
Your local radio stations are here for you. No subscriptions or monthly fees necessary. We're here to give you the news, weather, and traffic you need and the music you love. But if the foreign-owned record labels get their way, it could stop the music. They want Congress to force radio stations to pay them more money simply to play their music. Don't let radio go silent. Text LOCAL to 52886 and tell Congress to protect local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Next time you're in the office, look around and see the paper accumulating and the filing cabinets taking up space waiting to be filled. You want the paper gone, but dread the time-consuming scanning process? Well, with IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's never been easier to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud. The need for PCs, cables, and tedious application software is eliminated. Anyone can set this device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money, valuable time, and the hassle associated with IT. Remote employees can capture documents and send them seamlessly. This technology is adaptable to any environment and uses a hotspot without compromising security. If your goal is to organize documents efficiently and securely, IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT is for you. To see a demo or order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available.
I'm Sergeant Gary Carr, police firearms trainer and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training. We'll arm you with what really counts: knowledge and training. All concealed carry curriculums are not created equal. This may be the single most important decision you'll ever make for yourself and your loved ones. Choose between 3 and 16-hour classes that are available both weekdays and weekends. We are your one-stop for concealed carry classes, fingerprints, and legal defense plans.
To register for a class or purchase a self-defense legal service plan, go to icct.us. icct.us. When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
You can't live forever, but your legacy can. At Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, they've helped families set their legacies in stone for over 180 years. With interest-free financing and low monthly payments, now is the time to set your final wishes in place. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5490 today to schedule a free consultation.
Mark My Words with Mark Vargas. Brought to you by FreedomInitiativeNow.net. We now return to Mark My Words with Mark Vargas on AM 560, The Answer. Here's Mark Vargas.
And welcome back to Mark My Words here on AM 560, The Answer. I am your host, Mark Vargas, and joining me live on the phone to talk about the FBI raid at Mar-a-Lago, the 40th governor of Illinois, Governor Rod Blagojevich. Governor, thanks for joining me.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Governor, I had Roger Stone on earlier in the show talking about the raid, 30 agents, amphibious vehicles. They were ready for Roger to do a James Bond escape, underwater escape through the canal and out into the Atlantic Ocean. And I mentioned that I was going to be talking to you later in the show. Number one, your thoughts on the FBI raiding the home of the 45th President of the United States.
Well, I think they crossed the Rubicon. You know, I think it was one thing to do it to a Democrat governor back in 2008 when they came to my house with 26 federal agents, SWAT teams, a hostage negotiator, to arrest the sitting governor at 6 o'clock in the morning with my two young daughters sleeping before they got up to go to school. They got away with it. They went on to hijack the governor, me, sent me to prison for politics. They then used a lot of the same tactics, what they succeeded in using against the Democrat governor, the state level, the AAA level, in trying to destroy a Republican president at the major league level, President Trump. I watched all of this from prison. Russian collusion was a joke. It was a big lie. It was fake, and you could see through it right away if you stepped away and had an open mind. Then they tried to do the same thing in that second impeachment regarding a Ukrainian phone call, or the first impeachment on the phone call to Zelensky when the President Trump, had probable cause to think that there might be some wrongdoing by the vice president, who bragged on videotape about how he was withholding $1 billion until a prosecutor who was investigating his son's business was dismissed. How could a sitting president just ignore that and not at least look into it? And then now we have a former president, the unprecedented raid on his home over material from the archives. It's like an overdue library book. And what they've done there is taken it to a whole new level. And it's just another example of how some of these weaponized federal prosecutors and FBI agents have so much power and are getting away with it and have had success at the lower level, like with me, and what they did to Roger Stone, that they feel emboldened that they can actually do this to a former president. And, you know, I'm coming from the vantage point of someone who had been a Democrat throughout my political career. I'm a Trumpocrat for many reasons, including the fact that I owe my freedom to him. But I'm still fundamentally, on so many issues, part of what used to be the Democrat Party that John F. Kennedy was in. And when I see what they're doing now, it isn't a Democrat issue. It isn't a Republican issue. It's not a socialist or libertarian or Green Party issue. This is an American issue. It goes to the fundamental right of the people to self-government, to choose our own leaders in elections, and not have them taken from us by these unelected bureaucrats with fancy law degrees, uncontrolled power, and unlimited resources that everybody's afraid of. And it's very dangerous. They've been weaponized, and they've been politicized, and they're being used today by the Democratic Party. The FBI is acting like the KGB working with the DNC. That's what's happening, and it's terrible for America. And Democrats and Republicans should come together and condemn this. And the members of Congress who have the power to do something about it, both sides, ought to do something about it.
Governor, so well said. And I think, you know, what they did to take out the sitting governor of the fourth largest state in America, SWAT teams, hostage negotiators, they want to control the public opinion. They want to shock and awe. And that was outrageous back then. And now we're seeing this pattern with Roger Stone raiding the lawyers' offices, Rudy Giuliani raiding Mar-a-Lago. This sets a very dangerous precedent. And I want to add, Governor, that the FBI officials involved in your raid, that playbook, are also involved in trying to take out the 45th President of the United States. I'm talking about Robert Mueller, who signed off on your raid. I'm talking about James Comey. There are so many parallels that we could probably have an entire show on that. But Governor, I know that you're spending time with your family this evening, but I appreciate you calling in today because I think it's so important to highlight the parallels between what happened to you and what's happening to President Trump and those around him. So I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Mark, for having me. I'd just like to say one last thing to your listeners. I used to trust and believe in these people in the Department of Justice. I thought they were the good guys. I like to still think most of them are, but the ones that are playing politics with their power, these people are wicked, they're evil, and they're dangerous, and they're destroying our freedoms and our democracy. These are the ones who are doing what they're doing to President Trump. And we, the people, all of us, Republicans and Democrats, need to stand up and urge our elected representatives to do something about it.
Governor Rod Blagojevich, thank you for joining me. I will talk to you soon, my friend.
Thanks, Mark. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. You're listening to Mark My Words here on AM 560 The Answer. We'll be right back.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
Kind of immediately felt a little bit of an energy difference. The one thing I noticed about this is, to me, it seems like I was retaining the stuff, not just getting rid of it.
Exceptional. They really, really are. That's why I was nice enough to give mine away, and I shouldn't have. But I did. I was being a nice person when I did this.
I love them. Just amazing. And, you know, and again, it's speaking from somebody who's not a good fruit and vegetable eater. My mom was good at getting them in me, and I loved them. But as an adult, I don't know why I don't take the time to buy them, chop them up, eat them, and all that anyway. But I don't. So I think it's a great product, and I really want to keep taking them.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature right now. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get free shipping. And don't forget to get 35% off your first preferred order by using discount code CHICAGO.
Property managers and business owners, finding a reliable junk cleanout company can be challenging. Well, let me help you cut through the clutter and recommend veteran-owned and operated J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. J-Dog Junk Removal is leading the charge in Chicagoland with superior commercial, industrial, and warehouse cleanout services. No matter what junk you have, office furniture, old equipment, outdated inventory, construction debris, or overflowing dumpsters, the J-Dog Junk Removal team of veterans will take care of it all. They pride themselves on work that's done with respect, integrity, and trust. Plus, they've taken the sustainability pledge to keep junk out of landfills by recycling and donating. Schedule your free estimate today. Visit jdog.com. That's jdog.com. And be sure to check out all their positive reviews. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. If you don't want it, they do. Visit jdog.com today. That's jdog.com. Do you suffer from peripheral neuropathy in your hands or feet? Is continual numbness, tingling, and burning pain stopping you from being with your family? Are you unable to play golf or other activities you used to enjoy? Are you concerned about falling, or have you already? Have you tried typical treatments of drugs and therapy and not gotten any better or even worse? There's now a treatment that's already helped thousands improve their neuropathy so that they can get their lives back. Gold Coast Chiropractic now has a cutting-edge natural solution with a 95% success rate to improve your neuropathy right here in Chicago and can be done in the comfort of your own home. A solution that addresses the underlying cause of neuropathy without taking endless drugs with serious side effects. Call today for a complimentary nerve screening in the Gold Coast or Wheaton to see if this treatment can get you your life back. Call 773-524-4164. That's 773-524-4164.
Now, more of Mark My Words with Mark Vargas on AM 560. The Answer.
And welcome back to Mark My Words. I am your host, Mark Vargas, joining you live here in studio. And we've had an incredible show, a diverse show. We started out the top of last hour talking to Roger Stone, who appeared his presidential pardon, a copy of his presidential pardon appeared in item number 1, seized by the feds in their raid of Mar-a-Lago just a few days ago. And so Roger joined us to talk about that. We were joined by Jacqueline Reese, who is the new host of the World Leaders Forum at Judson University, the Inspiration Series. And on August 22nd at 7 p.m., she's going to have actor and producer and activist and director Edward James Olmos on campus, and proceeds fund student scholarships. And so that's August 22nd at Judson University at 7 p.m. I hope to see each and every one of you there. I will be there. And we started the top of this hour with Kenyana Jones, whose daughter Oceana was murdered in July of 2018 at the age of 21 years old, gunned down in the streets. Her killers are free. And I've made it a point, and I promised these families, I met many of them at a press conference that we had in front of Kim Foxx's office. Lots of press showed up. Everybody, every local channel and Fox News was there. But I promised every one of these families that we were going to get their stories out, and that we were going to not rest until justice is served. And you heard it right from Kenyana that the families that she knows on the south and west sides of Chicago, whose loved ones have been gunned down, have died brutal and violent deaths. Their killers, every single one of them, their killers are out on the streets. Kim Foxx not only has blood on her hands, but Kim Foxx is the reason why these killers are out on the street. Her office is setting these murderers free because they don't have enough evidence. Well, one parent that spoke at the press conference made an excellent point, a very strong argument, and that was Drew Peterson is in prison. He's got a 31-year sentence, circumstantial evidence for murdering his wife who remains missing. 31 years, circumstantial evidence. But she made the point that in my son's case, and in many of these cases of these families that were represented at this press conference, the evidence is not circumstantial. It's concrete. They've got video surveillance. They've got fingerprints. They've got eyewitnesses. But yet, because of the failure of J.B. Pritzker, the unholy trinity, Lori Lightfoot, and Kim Foxx to really address the crime here in Chicago, all of these killers are free and out on the streets. And that should scare every one of us. And we will not rest until justice is served. And we were joined by Governor Rod Blagojevich, the 40th governor of Illinois. And I have to tell you, it doesn't sound so bad now, does he? Because we're beginning to see the pattern that the FBI and the DOJ are creating or have created. This shock and awe. And actually, I've got a litmus test. Those that support Governor Blagojevich are the Trump Republicans. The rhinos despise him. And that's how I can tell which person is a rhino here in Illinois and who's a Trump Republican. It's very easy to distinguish. You can find out in a matter of seconds when you mention the name Rod Blagojevich, because the 45th President of the United States knows that Governor Blagojevich was totally screwed by a DOJ and FBI that was weaponized to target a political enemy. And what they did to the governor at the AAA level, they are now doing to the 45th President of the United States. And all of the same people that were involved back then of the raid of the sitting governor, they're all involved with what's happening right now. And so it was very important to get the perspective from these two men, Roger Stone and Rod Blagojevich, who both witnessed and experienced the weight of the FBI and the DOJ knocking on your door, guns drawn, 25, 30 agents, helicopters, SWAT teams, hostage negotiators. It is outrageous. This is not the United States of America. This is what they do in the Soviet Union. But speaking of crime, as I shared with you last hour, we walked in the parade. We were joined at the Bud Billiken parade by Justin from Chi-Town Crime Chasers, CCC. And he shared with me something that is becoming, I think, is a new trend, and it's a very disturbing one. And I wanted to put on your radar, and I want to put a post out on social media and on Twitter and Getter and Truth Social and Facebook. But this is it. The Chicago Police Department is now encrypting their communications so that only those within the department can get these messages about what's happening out on the street, shootings. So this is related to police scanners. Police scanners are now being encrypted so that you cannot listen to what's happening with your scanner. And this is creating a problem, according to Justin at Chi-Town Crime Chasers, for a couple of reasons. Number one, he spoke to some police officers that patrol University of Chicago, and they listen to the scanners to see what's happening around the college community there, to warn faculty and staff and students about what's happening. Now they're completely blind on what's happening because they cannot listen to the police scanners and about the crime that may be happening in real time around that campus community. That's number one. Number two, they have to wait an hour before a crime is reported. And then oftentimes these shootings, these crimes taking place, aren't reported at all. And so the encryption of the police scanners is being used to cover up the crime. And that's outrageous, and we need to make sure that we shine some sunlight on that. Sunshine is the best disinfectant. We'll talk more about that coming up next.
Security, safety. Lately, those words have new meaning. Hi, this is Sean Morrison. My company is Morrison Security. If you use a security company, I want you to think about this. Who's behind that company? Is it a company that is just doing an okay job? How well are they trained? Do you really trust them? The word is security. What's behind Morrison Security? We believe in the Second Amendment and conservative values, and here's why. It's about protection and freedom. Whether you need armed protection or not, you have the right to protect your business, to protect your property, to protect your school, to protect your family. Security. It has never been more important to know who's behind your security company. Is it people just filling a job? Or is it a group of people that in their core believes in providing real protection for your schools, business, and employees? Protection for you and your family. At Morrison Security, my name is on the company. You know what's behind Morrison Security. Take a moment. Think about your security services. Good may not be good enough. I welcome the comparison. Morrison Security. We're securing America coast to coast, based right here in Chicagoland. Check us out at morrisonsecurity.com. That's morrisonsecurity.com.
Want to try something different for your next personal or team get-together? Plan your next event at Bottle and Bottega by Painting with a Twist, Park Ridge. Sip your favorite beverage while you follow along with their artist entertainer to create your own one-of-a-kind artwork. No experience needed. It's the perfect venue to create and connect. At Bottle and Bottega, Park Ridge, they're all about making memories with the people that matter most in your life. Whether it's your team, a girls' or mom's night out, you'll have a blast with wine, paint, and hanging with your besties. Can't make it to the studio? Stop by and pick up a Twisted Home paint kit. It's everything you need for a great time painting. Paint, drink, and be merry at Bottle and Bottega Park Ridge by Painting with a Twist. Located at 424 Toohey Avenue, Park Ridge. For more information and to book your next personal event or team get-together, Google search Painting with a Twist Park Ridge or call 847-232-7170. That's 847-232-7170.
You're listening to Mark My Words with Mark Vargas on AM 560. Once again, here's your host, Mark Vargas.
And welcome back to the final segment of Mark My Words here on AM 560. I am your host, Mark Vargas, joining you live here in studio. And I've got a special guest joining me here, sitting right across from me. He is my younger brother, Jordan Vargas, host of Campus Conversations with Jordan Vargas at the College of DuPage, which debuts, what's the date?
September 15th.
September 15th, and your special guest is?
NBA player, business owner, Illinois native, Rodney Pryor.
Rodney Pryor. And so please make sure that you're available. Purchase your tickets. Where can they purchase tickets, Jordan?
You can purchase the tickets at themacartscenter.com, where you can find all the details and make a sponsorship donation towards the Student Succeed Scholarship.
So proceeds fund student scholarships. I'll be posting details for this event on all of my social media channels, so make sure that you set aside that date, September 15th, at what time?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. I will see you there. Do I get to sit in the front row, or am I going to be in the back row? Where do I sit?
You'll get nothing like it.
I'll be in the standing room only, George. I think that's where I'll be, way in the back.
That's usually where I end up, so that's fine.
Yeah, it should be a good time. You're already selling tickets.
Yeah, that's right.
Excellent, and you're getting generating some press on it. That's excellent. Mm-hmm. You're working on sponsors, and the first student-led Campus Conversations event. It's COD history. This hasn't happened before.
The largest community college in Illinois.
The largest community, maybe in the United States. It's gigantic. The COD campus is almost as big as Pritzker's waistline. Not quite, but almost there. Well, as you know, I like to end every show when I can, when we don't have a guest, but talking about police heroes. And I get these stories from Police One, the number one, policeone.com. And this one has to do with Florida deputies who surprise and cheer up a teen with a new bike delivery. And this actually happened in Palm Beach County, and it's a wonderful story. Two deputies with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office actually wanted to show a 13-year-old that he was not alone and that someone cared. So what did they do? On Friday, the Palm Beach County Police Department posted a photo of deputies Jose Claudio and James Murphy delivering a bicycle to a boy named Ernesto earlier this month. Why were they delivering little Ernesto a bicycle? Because on August 2nd, deputies had visited Ernesto's home when they learned, and it was reported that his little bike was stolen. And when they met with little Ernesto, they also learned that he was still grieving the loss of his father, who had passed away in June of 2020. And little Ernesto was very depressed over the loss of his father, and to make matters worse, he was sad about his little bike being stolen. And so what did the deputies do? These deputies dipped into their own pockets. They spent their own money and bought Ernesto what they called the bicycle of all bicycles, and a wide tire monster ripper. And they took a video of this, and they said that his face was absolutely priceless. And so, I just want to highlight this story. There are so many more of the men and women in uniform who serve and protect our communities, but are doing good every single day. And while the Democrats want to talk about defunding the police, we're talking about defending the police. So God bless the men and women in blue. God bless the men and women in the armed forces of the United States. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Truth Social, Getter, everywhere for more updates. You're listening to Mark My Words. Have a great night. See you next week.
It's an evening you don't want to miss. The Illinois Family Institute's Faith, Family, and Freedom Banquet with actors and